Hi, friends. A few folks from our community have asked which low D whistle has the cleanest tone. And I, like I said, a few folks asked, and so I felt like, well, this is really a good thing to dive into that we've not really talked about before. And it's important to think about things like this. You may have a low D whistle that you don't play much, and it might be because you're not thrilled with the tone. You have to find a whistle that you like and love because you're going to be drawn to play a whistle that you love the tone of that whistle. And so that's why I really harp on find a whistle that you love the tone of. But then there are other factors we need to consider, which is why when I introduce an instrument, I talk about cost, I talk about playability, I talk about finger spread, all those things. But I have some whistles today that I think meet this criteria for us. But I do want to talk just a little bit about kind of the tone quality that we find and look for in low D whistles. We hear terms like it has a chiffy tone, and that's a term I'm not going to use in this video because I found people defining chiff all over the map, and it's primarily was first applied to some high whistles. And I get a general feel as to what people mean, but I find it to be too broad a category to be descriptive enough for us. And we're going to get into a definitions video soon-ish. There are just so many things to talk about. Anyway, we have terms like warm, complex, resonant, breathy, fuzzy, clean, clear, loud, soft, and more. And interestingly, some of these terms can be combined and some of these terms can't be combined. Like you could have a warm and fuzzy tone, but you can't have a fuzzy, clean tone. Okay? So anyway, so I've got a number of whistles here and we're going to walk through some. First, to talk about some of those descriptions, the MK Pro is what a lot of people see as their go-to whistle for the traditional warm tone with with some complexities. I would not describe this as a clean tone, but I would describe it as a warmer tone with some complexities in it, a little bit of fuzziness possibly. So the MK Pro stands as the kind of the hallmark definition most people use for one area of the market. Slightly different, you move into the Kerry whistles. This is the Kerry that, when Phil Hardy introduces a whistle, he likes to say that it has a rich depth of tone, and he talks about how clean it is, but almost all of his whistles from Kerry whistles have some what he calls sizzle to them, some almost fuzziness. This is the Kerry. It starts at like $60, I think. And you can hear some cleanliness to the tune, but it's still leaning a little fuzzy. You get to some of his other whistles, and this is the Chieftain V5. Now, this one actually is probably, I don't know for sure, but it leans cleaner, but I still wouldn't describe it as a predominantly clean whistle. So that's another example. I have a lot of other examples, but most of them fit within that range. And now I want to share some whistles that I think are predominantly clean in their tone quality that would be a consideration for those of you who want a clean toned whistle. Boy, we could play so many whistles from the continuum of warm, loud, fuzzy to soft, clean, and loud, clean, and everything in between. That would take a long time, and I don't have all those whistles. That's a hint about the question coming up at the end. I want to talk about whistles that lean cleaner and that are cleaner, and I'm going to do these in ascending price. But first, I want to say that the very first whistle I got was the Howard Low D with the balanced head. If you're looking for a whistle that falls right kind of smack in the middle of all of this and it leans a little clean with having some warmth, the Chieftain V5 and the Howard Low D with a balanced head. Now there is a little bit of almost fuzziness in the tone there, but I think this whistle, the Howard, does a great job of being in the middle. Howard provides 3 different heads, and in the cleaner whistles, I'll introduce one of their heads that provides a cleaner tone. When you get into the second octave, notice I'm primarily playing the lower octave. That's because when you get into the second octave, most whistles are a little cleaner in tone. So you'll notice there, especially when I get from the middle of the second octave up, that you start getting a cleaner tone from most every whistle. Not all whistles, but most. So anyway, with all that in mind, here are, in ascending price order, whistles that provide a cleaner tone. The Tony Dixon single-piece polymer, and there is also, that's non-tunable, and the Tony Dixon tunable version of this. Picked them up for like 60 non-tunables, 85 tunable. Well, now, you're going to say there's some fuzziness in there. There's probably more fuzziness than the Howard. You're right, to be honest. Once you get up a little bit more, it gets cleaner. The bottom probably 3-4 notes have some of that fuzziness to it. It's not clean up and down the full scale. But I included this because it gets pretty clean after you get like above the low G. See, those are pretty clean. Then you start going down. Most of the fuzziness is actually, now thinking about it, most of it's in the low D on the Dixon. Now, moving up a little in price is the Susato Low D. You most of the time need to buy this from Susato themselves, $140. Now, a cleaner tone than the Dixon. One thing I do need to point out on the Susato if you are not all of these whistles so far require at least a modified piper's grip. On the Susato, to accomplish the tone on the polymer, instead of tapering the bore like Dixon did, the fifth hole is elongated slightly. And if you have thin fingers like I do, you might find that a bit of a challenge, which is one of the reasons why I often default to the full piper's grip, because of the size of my fingers. So bear that in mind. Now, the whistle with what I think is the cleanest tone of the lot is the Goldfinch Low D. Oh, got it. I was just playing the Susato. Now my fingers are messed up. That's not against the Susato. It's just changing one whistle to the other. In my opinion, the Goldfinch leans closest to the cleanest, unfuzzy, still with a beautiful tone, but it leans more flute-like than probably any of these others. I love the others, but if you're wanting the cleanest tone, in my opinion, it'd be the Goldfinch. I've got more to introduce, though, because you might find a little bit of difference. I shouldn't say the most, because there are other options. You have to buy the Goldfinch from Goldfinch, and it's $144 currently, excuse me, for the 2-piece and $165 for the 3-piece. And when you order from Goldfinch, they will make the whistle for you when you order it. So it takes a little while to get the whistle. All right, 3 more. So I introduced you to my Howard with the balanced head. Here's the Howard with the reed head, which is the cleaner head that Howard provides. So the Goldfinch is a little bit more fluty, clean, and the Howard is a little bit more metal body clean. So it gets a little bit more of the, it starts leaning clarinet-y in the kind of tone while still being clean. I have long felt and long said that the Howard is a bargain. I am thrilled that the very first whistle I bought is a Howard. I love Howard. They do different heads. It's just an absolutely delightful whistle to play. And if I were to start my Low D whistle all over again, the Howard would still be my first whistle. It's warm without being too warm. And if you want, you could get it's called the reed head. You could get the reed head and the balanced head and have that slightly warmer tone and the cleaner tone that the reed head provides. Now, I've never talked about this whistle before, but I want to today. You could order a whistle from the folks at Clover Whistle. When you order from David Furman at Clover, you order and he makes the whistle based on what you want. I asked David for a whistle that had some cleanliness of tone while still being warm. So Still has some beautiful tone to it. It's not as fluty as the Goldfinch. It's not as mellow, starting to lean clarinety as the Howard with the reed head, but it's its own kind of cleanliness to it. And it's a little louder. Now, this is an option if money's not a big deal, because you could contact David and you could say, I would like a low D whistle that is very clean and crisp in tone. He will make it for you, but you've got to do some other descriptors for David. I wouldn't connect with David as a beginner and say, oh, I want this. I would wait and connect with David after I knew more, because he's going to make the whistle you ask for. And a year ago, I purchased this for $325. So bear all that in mind. It's not a cheaper whistle. It's a more expensive whistle. But David will make what you want. And I think it's beautiful. And I don't really use it much because it's not a whistle. I don't use it much on my videos because it's not a whistle that you're going to just go and buy off the shelf somewhere. But you need to know about it because David will make what you want. You want warm, rich, mellow, David will make it. You want clean, crisp, clear, David will make it. But wait until you know what you really want. And the last whistle I'm going to introduce in this group is the Carbony standard bore, not the wide bore. The wide bore provides that richer, more mellow tone with some of the complexities to it. If you want the cleaner, you need to go with the Carbony standard bore, and you could get that with close finger spacing. I could play this like a middle keyed whistle with the pads of my fingers. And so this one is a nice, clean, beautiful, almost because of the carbon, it leans to a wood sound without the variability of wood and without the concern of taking wood outside and getting it hurt, or without the concern of keeping your wood treated. The carbon is just a virtually indestructible whistle and with a lifetime guarantee. And so you might like that as your option. But the Carbony, you could get a couple of places. You could get it from, well, you could look it up and find it at a few stores. Currently, the best deal is probably at bigwhistle.com. You could order it direct from the great folks at Carbony. It'll be about $600 though. And you could use my discount code, Scott's Journey, and get 5% off. Because I love me a Carbony whistle. It's hard to find something exactly like it. Anyway, out of all of these, I think you will find the option you want. However, I say however. See, what I mean is like I said at the beginning, I don't have every whistle under the sun. I don't know every whistle, and I haven't played them all. My friends, between our community, we have every whistle under the sun. What whistles, in addition to the ones I've said, or even including the ones I've said, do you think have the cleanest tone? I want you to comment. Our whole community needs you to comment. We have friends who want to know what whistle they could purchase, what Low D whistle they could purchase that has a clean, crisp tone to it. Between our community, we could let them know. I've shared some, the ones I have. And you, my friends, may know of others. Not the warm tones, the clean, clear toned low Ds. What are they in addition to the ones I've mentioned? Or chime in your opinion on the ones I've mentioned. If this video has been helpful for you, I would love for you to join our Low D whistle playing community. Please subscribe because together we're helping each other learn and grow. And we include high whistles. We're going to start including mid-range whistles, but all of that to help us with our low whistles. If this video has been helpful, please hit that little like button and share this with friends that might benefit from this video. Until next time, this is Scott Shade. Happy Low D whistling, my friends.